Greetings, fellow moviegoers, and welcome to Movie Central, the place to talk about movies, TV shows based on movies, toys based on movies, games based on movies, and rides based on movies. I'm your host, Mr. CCS, and this is my pet gorilla, George. Let's talk about Taika Waititi. Taika Waititi is a New Zealand filmmaker that has made several movies that are incredibly racy, on the line of Sacha Baron Cohen. But Waititi is a Kiwi, so difference, I guess? Anyways, he joined the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Team Thor, which showcases what Thor was doing during Captain America Civil War, and gave the character a more jokey atmosphere. And considering the first two Thor movies made him more uninteresting than he really was as a character, this was a brisk take on the character. Okay, in all seriousness, the real Thor event that Taika Waititi would work on would be the third and final Thor movie. Yes, I said final. I refuse to support Natalie Portman being uninteresting again. She needs a bit more experience, and I do not want to see her in another bad. Okay. This is the final Thor movie. Today we're looking at Thor Ragnarok. Thor, played by Chris Hemsworth, and his world is about to explode in Marvel's Thor Ragnarok. His devious brother Loki, played by Tom Hiddleston, has taken over Asgard. The powerful Hela, played by Cate Blanchett, has emerged to steal the throne for herself, and Thor is imprisoned on the other side of the universe. Please mind that. To escape captivity and save his home from imminent destruction, Thor must first win a deadly alien contest by defeating his former ally and fellow Avenger, the Incredible Hulk, played by Mark Ruffalo. Honestly, what a surprise that a Thor movie has this strong a story when the first two stories were kind of boring. Anyways, let's see what makes this movie so great. Let's start with the characters. Thor, after Age of Ultron, was reinvented to be this confident jokester, making everyone blow up. After being a whiny brat and a silent brute pretty much for two movies, and an interesting hero in Joss Whedon's vision of the franchise, back when Joss Whedon was, a decent human being and not an absolute monster. Now, Thor has a new haircut, lack of Mjolnir, and a new sense of humor. But as great as Thor is, my favorite character in this movie is the Hulk, as we hadn't seen any storyline focusing on him since the 2008 movie, which I think is underrated. Here, Mark Ruffalo gives what I think a great performance as the Hulk, the man truly trapped inside a monster. Then there's Loki, who's as charming as ever, and he hasn't changed that much. So yeah, nothing really to mention here. Valkyrie is so good. She's funny, cool, and just great. As for the villain, we have Hela, who is a great villain. From her design to her voice, she's so frightening and a great villain in the MCU. Definitely one of the best ones in the franchise. As for other characters, we have Mr. Jeff Goldblum as Grandmaster, who is hilarious, Scourge, the Executioner, who should be a silent character, but I like Carl Urban, so yeah. And then there's Korg, played by Waititi himself. And he can be funny with some jokes, but one complaint I have is that he has one bad joke after Asgard explodes, and he can be a little bit aggravating in some scenes. But overall, he is funny. Okay, visual effects time. These are great. From the Hulk to Surtur to Asgard to Sakaar to Korg, these are amazing for 2017 standards, when the alternatives in that time frame were Superman's swollen upper lip in Justice League. The music was composed by Mark Mothersbaugh, who composed the Hotel Transylvania and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs series. And I love his work as he brings back nostalgia from the 1980s with the electric sounding soundtrack. He's a better composer than Brian Tyler was, who I love when he composes movies in the Fast and Furious series, but his MCU scores are not for really memorable and are just forgettable when you're not watching the movie. I want Mothersbaugh for the next few projects, even though I hate the idea for Thor Love and Thunder. The action scenes are so great. If I had to pick one, though, it would be the Hulk and Thor Gladiator fight. It was big in scale, the CGI was great, and I love the Lego set of it. I got it at Toys R Us when I was 10, and I loved it to pieces, no pun intended. Now, this movie was great. Sure, there was a joke or two that missed, but other than that, the movie was great. With a great story, great characters, great VFX, great music, and great action, definitely watch this one over the other two. For with that, this movie gets a high rating of a 9.5 out of 10, an electrifying movie to end a series. Well, that's it for this review. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below and tune in next week when I review two movies in one review, which are the final Harry Potter movies. With that said, my name is Mr. CCS, this is Movie Central, and that, my friends, is a wrap. See you next week.